Bleeding Edge Digital, media so fresh, it's being released in its original, unstable form. If you like what you see, be sure to press that like button and subscribe. Alright, let's go ahead and jump on in. Bleeding Edge Digital. It is Monday, September the 18th, and this is a piece of me that I want to share with you all on this YouTube video journey we're all on. Regardless of which side of the aisle you sit on, whether you consider me friend or foe, whether you love me or hate me, is really probably going to be irrelevant for most of this video, because I want to share something about me. Instead of looking at you guys, let's look at me today. So in the last couple of days, I've had the job of going back through my old content and listening to it and trying to retitle everything and look at the keywords and analyze the content within in order to shape it up and give it its best presentation possible. Now, in doing that job, which is how I saw it from the beginning, it was a huge, task in front of me, and I really wasn't looking forward to it, but I do believe in what I'm doing, and I do believe in the direction I was taking, and I really wanted to go ahead and do that. So, in doing so, I started looking at this stuff, and I put up, I think, 10 or 12 videos. Some of them are new, some of them are old stuff that have been cleaned up. But I have also tried to take this opportunity, because that's what it's turned into, to, as best I can, objectively look at my intent and my capacity to exert that into something that is effective. In other words, I want to make my efforts ultimately work. I mean, doesn't everybody? So in looking at that, I still think that it has had its day for the most part. But because of the way I put that platform together, it's very time specific. It's a moment in time that is gone. Things change in real life very, very frequently. And going back, 6 weeks, and looking at something that was about the top story that day is not only not relevant today, it's not very interesting other than it being kind of gossipy. And it's not effective at all in what I had intended it to do. What I intend it to do is to help people. What I intend to do is to try and thwart people from making mistakes and committing crimes inadvertently, resulting in problems and difficulties, both legal, financial, etc. I believe that I've done that. I believe that a lot of that content did have some impact, because I've had feedback from people that have told me as such. But going backward and looking at it, most of it's not going to go back up because it's not effective. It's not what I want it to do. I'm not going to put a bunch of content back up that is just going to look very redundant and nitpicky on one person, because there's, there were 5 or 6 days that person was the headline of the day and is not today. So it takes away from my intent and my purpose. Now, interestingly enough, this little pit stop or, break on the road has also provided me some opportunity to discuss very calmly and directly with a few of the people on the other side of this issue, direction, purpose, and intent, and, change and affecting change. And I get it. I do. I feel your frustration. And I have to say that even though completely misguided and totally baptized in the Kool-Aid of other people that do not have the same goals and intents, they believe that they're trying to do something good. Some of you do, and you're willing to go to jail for it, apparently. But understand, that's not going to change anything. It's only going to change a few things. It's going to change lives in the people you love the most. It's going to change your world. It's not going to change the world. It's going to change your world. And it's not going to be for the better. You're going to be that dumb sovereign citizen, whether you like that term or not. That's what News 10 and, whatever your hometown news is, they're going to give you that label or one like it. And you're going to be a 30-second soundbite at the dinner table with Pa sitting there going, look at that dumbass. Your credibility went out the window with your crimes. It doesn't substantiate your foundation of your argument one little bit. And it actually reinforces the world elite that you profess you want to take down, unfortunately. So let me double back, because this is going to end up being like an hour long if I keep going on this. I don't want to digress too much. I am looking at what I want to do. I want to make a change. I really do. I really do. I want to try and learn about things that maybe a lot of us don't know. Now, I'm going to put this forward, but I think there's people on both sides of this argument that are ignoring the elephant in the room. I think that there's a lot of people that know about the big bad wolf that is the Federal Reserve, and they're frustrated and they're beat down by our economy, and there's a gazillion things that we do know, but I don't know that everybody knows much about the Federal Reserve and how it was put together and some of the stuff that it does and the flim-flam behind it. I know I don't. I know it's a big, giant, crooked scheme. I've seen, hundreds of hours of YouTube videos. I did read the Creature from Jekyll Island a couple years ago, and then I read it again in late July when this whole Harvey thing blew up. But I just kind of skimmed through it. So, I had just maybe a week ago downloaded the audiobook. I'll show you here. I had downloaded the audiobook and I'd started listening to it. And in all this and in all this discussion and this review, I was like, maybe we should go back and take a look at what's wrong with the system while we're taking a look at what's wrong with the method of attack. Now, understand, this is not any type of concession to any type of movement or family member or person or persons. It's not an influence by anybody but me and my personal intent of learning what's wrong, crossing over into how effective I can be as a person to help other people. I'm 50 years old. I want to make the most of my life. I want to be helpful and be, a halfway good person. I want my time here on this planet to be productive as possible. I've had some other road issues and pit stops in my personal life that have put me where I'm at now. And I would really like to find some intent and purpose and direction for me. And that's what this voyage has been for me. Now, again, looking at all this, I'm personally looking into what the Federal Reserve is, because I do think that they're a very, very broken system that needs to be changed legally and, by all of us. I do not think that any of the illegal efforts are smart, effective, or even a little productive. They're not. If anything, you're helping the opposition. You're helping the big bad banks be bigger and badder. Because you're looking like an idiot. You're not bringing this to the attention of anybody. One of the cries in the family, the movement, is that mainstream media hasn't picked it up. Let me tell you what that says to me. It's kind of like a carnival that's on the outskirts of town. It might get a small write-up on page 9 of the local paper, but it's not a front page headline because it's not a very big show, and it's certainly not important. And that's what this is. This is a giant facade. It's a giant show. And unfortunately, some of you have been sucked into the show and you won't deviate, and that's okay. I'm not going to ask you to. What I am going to ask you to do, though, is ask yourself how much you really know about the Federal Reserve and what's broken. Before being able to fix anything, we need to identify all the problems therein and formulate plans for change. Putting together a giant clusterfuck of exploit attacks is nothing but a shit show. It's nothing but a clown car with, an unknown number of clowns popping out. It's kind of funny for a minute while it's in center ring, but then it's gone and nobody remembers it after it's done. Nobody's really going to remember Heather Ann Tucci Giraffe. Nobody's going to remember Randall Bean. Nobody's going to remember Harvey Dent. Nobody's going to remember Mike O'Brien. Nobody's going to remember Triple Moore or Jermaine Walker or Extraordinary Light. Nobody's going to give 2 fucks in less than a year from now. I guarantee it. Not one of these fools will survive. Most likely. Maybe a couple of them are just super, I don't know what the right word is. And I'm not going to go there. What I am going to say is that this thing is already fizzling and it's going to keep fizzling. There's nothing left here because the 48 hours for unfettered access passed like 8 weeks ago. If you guys don't see that this is a fucking hoax by now, you never will. And you'll keep doing this until something bad happens to you. And I can't help you. You're not the person I'm trying to get to anyway. So, moving on. I'm going to take some time and start learning about the Fed. Really studying and learning what's broken. Now, what I had done was, before I made this video, I really looked at what the resources were out there. And I was going to make some videos on, why things are not this and why things are not that. And every time I asked a question from the search engine, I kept coming into this person, this Virgo triad that I subscribed to today. Every time I asked a question, there she is. And I'm just going to make a quick side comment here to the people that I consider, gurus or scam artists or whatever. Y'all shouldn't be afraid of me. Y'all should be looking at this lady and going, who in the fuck is this? And which alphabet agency is she from? She catalogs this shit like she's a computer or something. It's kind of spooky. So, moving on. I'm going to keep exposing fraud. I'm going to keep pointing out things that are absolute exploits and misuse of people. If you are recruiting an army of beta testers to go find daddy his honey hole, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to be on you like white on rice. This bulldog will not stop doing what he's doing because that was what brought me here. It's what's kept me here, and it's what's going to keep me here. But I'm also going to add a change because I need to learn about a broken system. I understand the problem in general, but I don't understand all the specifics, and I have to wonder if anyone does. I don't hear any of the gurus going into specifics of what's wrong. They just say that it's wrong. they don't say why they're frustrated with these giant slovenly bankers. They just refer to how giant and slovenly they are. So I can't make them learn. I can't make anybody learn. But I can make me learn. And I can share that stuff with you guys. Now, I promised some Easter egg hunts and some other cool shit. And I'm going to still put that into my content. We're going to keep going along together on this journey. Whether you like me or you hate me, whether you want to see me in the trunk of a car or you want to see me on CNN, come along for the ride. Let's see what we can learn together. I'll try to make it as fun as I can. I'll try to find good points to review, and maybe together we can put some kind of real plan for change together and put it into action, because I haven't seen any of that. So I don't know if I can be that guy, but I think that there's others that might identify with this video that might want to be part of this, and all of us can start moving in that direction, because in my heart I feel it's the right direction.
I'm so good at